Hiya! Welcome! Another month, another Minidisc Monday. We are up to edition number 69 today, and we are going to look at the packaging, the disc, and of course talk about the music within of this album here. It's the second studio album from the Irish family folk pop band, the Corrs. This is Talk on Corners.
You're only just a dreamboat sailing in my head. You swim my secret oceans of coral blue and red. Your smell is incense burning. Your touch is silken yet. It reaches through my skin, moving from within, and clutches at my breast.
So I've been looking forward to doing this review for quite some time, as this has traditionally, in the long time that I've been a Corrs fan, I've got into them around kind of 98, 99, when everyone else did really. And this has really been my favourite of all their work. It's been a close run thing, because I know a lot of people prefer the debut album, Forgiven Not Forgotten, and I have reviewed that for Minidisc Monday. Please go back into the playlist to check that out if you haven't seen it. For me, Talk on Corners was always slightly superior, and it's not been that long since I last heard it, as I've also got this on vinyl. It came out about 18 months ago. Finally got a vinyl reissue. And it was a slow burner, this album, in the UK at least, and no doubt other countries as well. The first, I think, 3 or 4 singles, none of them made the top 40. The Corrs performed at the Royal Albert Hall around St Patrick's Day 1998. It was a big success. It was broadcast on BBC television. They performed the Fleetwood Mac track Dreams, which we'll talk about in a little bit, with Mick Fleetwood guesting on drums. And it was kind of a Corrs explosion afterwards, and the album would be reissued. It had already been reissued once at that point to include Dreams, and then later on in that year it would be reissued as a special edition with remixes on it. So it's quite confusing as to exactly what singles came off this album. On the clip earlier, I did include the remixes of What Can I Do and So Young, but it's the original normal versions that feature on this Minidisc edition and the original CD edition of the album. Also, even more confusingly, Runaway, which was originally from Forgiven Not Forgotten, a remixed version of that was added to the remixed versions of So Young and What Can I Do to the Talk on Corners special edition, and I didn't include that in the list of singles. Anyway, enough of all that, let's have a look at the packaging and the contents. Case is holding up pretty well. Fair few scuffs and very minor scratches and marks, but nothing to be disheartened about. The booklet's quite nice without being overly exciting. Fair few pages with some kind of blurry, arty kind of photos of band members. And then we've got a page each dedicated to lyrics. No lyrics for Dreams for some reason. I don't know if that was a copyright thing, as it was Stevie Nicks' written track, or whether they just forgot to include the lyrics. We have the lyrics for all the tracks on the album that aren't instrumental. Some thanks towards the end. A few more photos with some basically listing who the band members are and the producers and everything. A lot of producers for this album, actually. I know it said on the back, produced by David Foster, Oliver Lieber, Jim Corr, Glenn Ballard, John Hughes, Rick Nowell and Billy Steinberg. And it was recorded in Dublin and California. As for the disc, same drill as ever before. Artwork stuck on that side, if I can hold it up the right way. Flip it round and we've got some track listings, record label logos, and a few boring legal codes and numbers. I am a Corrs fan. I generally like all their work. Some of it is better than others. Some of it I would recommend more than other albums as well. We'll go through the tracks on this one. Track number 1, Only When I Sleep. The lead single didn't do particularly well in the UK charts. I'm not sure about Ireland, their native country of course, or any other territory, but it's a good song. Track 2, When He's Not Around. Enjoy that again. You'll notice, certainly if you've heard Forgiven Not Forgotten as well, that this album, Talk on Corners, it does have a more Americanized sound to it, which is hardly surprising given that I think the majority of those producers I mentioned are American, and a lot of the album was recorded in places like Hollywood and Malibu. Track number 3 is Dreams. Now that didn't originally come on the album, it always came on the Minidisc edition. I mean, this edition of the album on MD didn't come out till about 2 years after the original 1997 album release anyway. But the original CD didn't have Dreams on, and that was added for a 1998 reissue after the Royal Albert Hall concert. Great cover. It's not the Todd Terry remix that you would have heard on the radio. It's still quite a dance pop version, but it's just not the Todd Terry remix of the track that you might be familiar with. It was a great Fleetwood Mac song, and the Corrs do a marvellous job, and it's one of the album's highlights for me. Track 4 is What Can I Do? That of course has the rather catchy and memorable do 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 do. All that, I won't carry on with that. And it would get released as a single to promote the special edition of the album in 1998, but it was remixed by Tintin Out. I love the remix, but I love the normal album version as well. Great track, another album highlight for me, What Can I Do? Number 5, I Never Loved You Anyway. I believe that was the second single off the album. I think for me the weakest single. It's not a bad song, I don't dislike it at all, but me personally I think it's the least good of all the singles released from this. Number 6 is So Young, a kind of, Americanized guitar pop song, once again released and remixed in single form to promote the special edition version of the CD in '98. K-Class did a great remix. I like the remix and I like the album version as well. So Young, fantastic stuff. Track 7, halfway through the album, is Don't Say You Love Me. Never been one of my favourites on here, that as ballads go, and there's a few kind of ballads or slower tempoed songs on here, it's not the greatest for me. It's not terrible. For me, it's hovering towards below average. Maybe the low point of the album for me personally. Number 8, Love Gives, Love Takes. There again, more kind of a slower to almost mid-paced ballad, but an improvement on the previous track. Number 9 is Hopelessly Addicted. Interesting one that it kind of combines really sort of an R&B sound. I suppose Love Give, Love Takes, it sounded very 90s American R&B, and this one does as well, but it also has sort of a weird mesh of the Celtic instruments, the fiddle, the flute or tin whistle, with kind of what I would call an Enigma style drum loop, a kind of new age dance kind of drum loop really, but it does work. Number 10 is the only technically instrumental it's classed as on the album, Paddy McCarthy. There was more kind of traditional Irish instrumentals on Forgiven Not Forgotten, so I think that's why some people were a little disappointed with Talk on Corners in comparison, because they'd really dialed down the proper traditional Irish folk music. And there again, while you would expect it to be a straight sort of Irish sounding track, fiddles, barren, etc, etc, it's not. It kind of blends with, once again, sort of a dance / R&B / American sound. It shouldn't work, but it kind of does really, for me anyway. Track number 11 is Intimacy. Another ballad, but one of the stronger ones for me. Andrea Corrs' voice sounds beautiful in this. I really enjoy that. Number 12, another of my favourite tracks on the album is Queen of Hollywood. That's a song written about a young lady, young woman who seeks her fame and fortune in America, in California, in the film industry presumably, and falls prey to unfortunate circumstances. I always felt that should have been a single really, but perhaps the subject matter was a little too, not heavy-handed, but a little too on the nose for the Corrs or their record labels to really feel that was worthy of being a single, but it's one of the album's best tracks for me. Penultimate track is No Good For Me, another great song that, and one that I think would have done pretty well, or would have done no worse than any of the others if it had been released for the singles market. And it ends with track 14, Little Wing, which is bizarrely a cover of a Jimi Hendrix song. Now you think the Corrs doing Jimi Hendrix shouldn't work, but it does. Very sort of ballad territory, nice way to end the album. Just a very pleasant listen this. It weighs in at a little under 1 hour, but it breezes by. I've always loved this album. Yeah, it's not perfect across the board. I don't think any of the Corrs' work is. I'm a fan, but they'll never kind of be absolute top tier as far as groups are concerned for me, because there's just kind of a little bit of inconsistency or overly Americanized production. And even on this album, which I've always really liked, and it is still one of the top 40 biggest selling albums in the United Kingdom of all time, Talk on Corners. There's certainly more than enough good stuff for me to still consider this the Corrs' best work, and therefore it is a recommendation from me, Talk on Corners. And there will be one more Corrs album on Minidisc to review for this series, so look out for that in the future. But thank you for watching MD Monday today. I want to say special thanks to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now, and please join me again in 2 weeks' time when we take a look at what I've got for you in Minidisc Monday number 70. Cheers everyone. See ya!